Well, good morning, everybody. I've decided that it's time to get the badges back on the car, on the rear, now that I've got the bumpers done and the stripes on, and the paint's now had a number of weeks to harden and settle, and it seems that it's in good shape. My intention was, on the rear badges, there are two. One's the tuned port injection logo or badge, and the other is the Z28 badge. And my intention was to reuse those and put them back on the car. My bias trying to be to stay with the original parts and not replace them with restoration or restoration parts. And if I could, if it makes sense. In the end, I'm going to show you here in just a moment. I got a couple of things. One is this Z28 logo. When I got it peeled off, most of the adhesive came off, but some of it didn't. And the more that I went in, and I worked on this with mineral spirits, with alcohol, with all kinds of things, trying to get that adhesive off. And it wouldn't come off, and then I started getting the silver portion of the badge started to delaminate and come apart. At that point I said, ooh, maybe I better do something different. And my intention was, 3M makes a product here, this 08069, called a press-in-place emblem adhesive. And the way they listed in the instructions is that you would take a badge that had foam on the back and put the badge down on a piece of this. It would pick up the adhesive and then you would put it on. I thought perhaps that this Z28 logo being so flexible that it didn't have foam, that perhaps I could transfer some of that adhesive and reattach it. But since I can't get the adhesive off, I decided to buy a new one, and I have that one right here. Well, I'm ready to start putting badges back on the car, just on the rear bumper. And trying to decide what to do here with the rear one. The tuned port injection one was kind of grungy. So I've been cleaning it up here with a little isopropyl alcohol. And while it isn't perfect, it actually has come back pretty good. There was a little bit of scuff on it. And somehow in the process of transporting it, even though I had it protected, it came apart here, broke into two pieces. And this one should go back together with some molding tape, which would probably hold it together pretty well. But that's going to be a lot of work because I'll have to put molding tape on the back and then cut around it. And then I've got the Z28 emblem, which I'm not going to put alcohol on the front of. I'll use some other detergent so I don't mess up that plastic. And then it didn't have foam tape on the back, it just had some kind of an adhesive. So once again, I'm going to try some isopropyl on it. A bunch of it peeled off when the back bumper, when I peeled it off the back bumper. You can see it's had a lot of dirt in it. And so let's see if we can get this one cleaned up. Get this old adhesive off. Put a towel down here so I don't mess it up. Let's see if this will get this cleaned off. Right now it seems like the alcohol is taking a bite, but it really takes a lot of soaking. You really get it damp, and then kind of peel it off or roll it off. Kind of comes off and like in a ball. I'm going to switch over and try some denatured alcohol, because the isopropyl's just not, I mean it's working, but it's pretty slow. The only thing is, if you use denatured, it's poisonous, you know, wore the right kind of gloves. Yeah, I'm going to stay with isopropyl. That didn't make any difference at all. And I'm going to switch over to mineral spirits and see if that does any better. Try to kind of soak it and let it, see if it'll absorb some of it and soften it. So my tuned port injection one, the foam backing came off when I took it apart, and it had been in bad condition. There's a piece down here that had disappeared earlier when I got the car, when I first got it on the road, and the end of this was flapping in the breeze, and I had to put a regular piece of molding tape under it just to stabilize it. But once I got it all apart, the foam came apart. The foam is dismembering itself, and then in handling, even though I was being very careful, the badge broke into two pieces. My intent with this one was to get, I have the foam molding tape that you normally would use, the 3M material, and I was going to put that on the back and trace around it with a razor blade hobby knife, and just redo this and put it back on. But second and third thoughts, I purchased a new one. It's got the adhesive on the back, and the silver on the old one was pretty worn, so I got a nice clean one, as long as I'm doing all the painting and refreshing the rear bumper. I said, okay, let's go ahead and do new stripes, new Z28 logo, and let's see if we can get them back on the car. I took some pictures when I took off the tuned port injection logo or badge, and the distance from the end of the bumper was 8 inches. When I say end of the bumper, when you go to the back bumper of the car here, there's a bump or a depression. So I measured from the end of this depression out to the start of the badge, so that I had a means of aligning it. It's probably not extremely critical. I don't imagine the factory tolerance was that close, but it was 8 inches, give or take an eighth or so. And on the Z28 logo on the other side, it's it goes in its depression in the bumper, and so it's pretty well located. Now, I've gone ahead and cleaned the bumper with some isopropyl alcohol. I'm also a little careful putting solvents up against new paint, but it has sat, it's urethane with hardener, and it's sat for, oh goodness, I'm probably 4 weeks in from when I sprayed it now. 4 to 6. Lose track of time. This project has taken a while. But I didn't have any evidence of it hurting the paint. It just got it nice and clean. So we're going to go and see what it takes to get these guys stuck on the car here. Okay, well, I put a piece of blue tape here. This edge is at the 8-inch mark. This badge, this new one, is actually just slightly bigger than the old one. It's about a 1/4 inch longer. So when somebody redid the artwork to reproduce it, it's just slightly longer. I know this, there's just a little bit of an imprint from the old one. Even though I sanded things pretty thoroughly, I can still see just a trace of where this one used to go, which would be like right about here. Just kind of test the fit, so it'll stick over into my tape just a little. Alright. I know I'm being ultra careful, but once these things stick on, you know, getting them off is a problem, a challenge that you could end up ruining the paint trying to repair it. So let's get this thing started here. Come on. Let's peel that back just to be sure it's back. That looks good. Nice. We'll just push that down real good, make sure that it adheres. That's looking pretty good. Very nice. And that wasn't hard. It centered up in the groove pretty easily. Okay, one down. So getting to the Z28 logo. First of all, when I went looking to buy a new one, there are a number of different colors, and the most confusing part is that there's a silver and there's a gray. I went back to parts lists and found that for 85 with silver stripes, silver was the right color. And apparently, I want to say, I'm working from memory, but I want to say if you had an 87 or maybe it was an 88, then that used a gray instead of a silver, or certain other models. So for an IROC, the silver one was correct. So fresh out of the package, I should just be able to peel it and lay it in there. And it has a nice silver backing to it. Let's see if we can do it. Not sure the best way, because it's going to want to stick wherever it sits. So, there we go. I just lined it up on the bottom here. And that looks like it made it straight. Let me get up. Get a rag here. The surface is a little bit sticky as it came out of the bag. There must be a little, I'm going to call it manufacturing something on it. The rag is kind of sticking. But there we go. That was easy enough. Like I say, lining it up along that bottom edge before I flipped it up. That seems to have worked. And this end dropped right in the depression there. Hey. So there we go, all back up and looking nice. Excellent. Okay, another job done. I hope you enjoyed that video. If so, please subscribe to my channel.